What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Monday, January 15th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. We have some major breaking news coming in this evening. Apparently, Iran has launched ballistic missiles at the U.S. consulate in Erbil in northern Iraq. I repeat, Iran has launched ballistic missiles at the U.S. consulate in the city of Erbil in northern Iraq. This is being confirmed by Iraqi security officials. We have unconfirmed reports of 9 casualties so far. And apparently, there has been significant damage sustained to the U.S. consulate building. And apparently, these missiles were launched by the IRGC, which is part of the Iranian military, and they have claimed responsibility for it. I have some footage I want to share with you. Here we have some footage that was released by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps showing them launching several ballistic missiles. So let me play this for you. So this has been 100% confirmed, guys. I told you all roads lead to Iran. I was warning you the last few days that this is going to escalate to a war with Iran, and it's coming now, guys. The US and NATO is going to have to respond. Okay, this is a massive provocation by Iran to literally attack a US consulate. That is the equivalent of an act of war. Okay, the US consulate is basically U.S. territory. It's kind of like an embassy, okay? This is huge. So please get prepared, okay? Get everything you need now, because when this war kicks off in Iran, people are going to panic buy everything, okay? Emergency food, ammo. It's going to be really bad, okay? This is very, very serious. Let's just watch this again. You can see, based on the number of contrails here, you could see at least several ballistic missiles were launched. Okay, not one, not two, several. And here we have some footage that was released on social media showing some kind of kaboom in Erbil, okay, over the skyline of Erbil. Let me play this for you. Okay, you can see this massive fireball coming from the skyline. Look at that. You can actually see the shock wave. Okay, so this is Erbil here, and you can actually see the missile landing. Let me slow that down a little bit for you. You can actually see right before, you see right there? Look, you see that? Right there. That's the missile landing right there. You can see it. Boom. Okay, so looks like 2 strikes back to back. Okay, 2 missiles back to back. Look at that. You can clearly see the missile landing. So there's the first one, and then you have the second one right after it, okay? And this is just one short clip, a 6-second clip. For all we know, there could have been a dozen missiles launched at the consulate, at the embassy, okay? Unconfirmed reports of 9 casualties, guys. This is very, very serious. We're going to war with Iran, guys. We are going to war with Iran. It's coming potentially any day now. The U.S. military has been planning a massive denuclearization and demilitarization operation on Iran for years and years. Okay, we already have plans in place to do this. Okay, it's just a matter of executing them. And tonight, emergency action messages are going off like crazy. And emergency action messages are nuclear attack options that are broadcasted by the National Military Command Center at the Pentagon out to our nuclear forces. Okay, so our nuclear forces are on high alert right now. This is absolutely insane. We are living in historic times, guys. Okay, I just did an emergency alert earlier today how NATO is preparing for war with Russia. The UK is moving 20,000 troops to Poland and the Baltics. 20,000 troops. That's the largest number of troops that the UK has moved in 40 years. Okay, and NATO is planning the largest exercise since the Cold War starting next month, and it's going to last all the way through June. And then there were leaked documents from Germany, classified German military documents saying that Russia could plan a major attack this coming fall during the transition period between presidents. Okay, so get prepared, guys. We are on the verge of nuclear war. Okay, make sure you have a fallout shelter. Make sure you have at least a few weeks of food on hand. Okay? You never know what could happen tomorrow. We could wake up and they could hit us with a surprise nuclear attack. Okay? They're not going to give us any warning, guys. Russia, Iran, all these countries, they're not going to give us a warning. They're just going to launch. Okay? They're going to use the element of surprise because that's the only way that they can hit us is with a surprise attack. So you need to be ready all the time. Okay, there's not going to be a chance to suddenly acquire food when missiles are coming to the US or to suddenly find a fallout shelter. Okay, they're going to come within 30 minutes. And here we have some footage of apparently gunfire in Erbil. So I don't know if there's also a ground assault going on right now. This is absolutely insane, guys. This is an act of war on the United States. Let me play that again so you guys can hear this intense automatic fire. I don't know if they're just, celebrating that, Iran launched this missile and they're shooting their rifles in the air. I have no idea. And here we have some more footage coming in, apparently showing the actual ballistic missiles flying over Iraqi airspace. You can see them in the air. You can see all the contrails here. You can actually see one flying right there. Look at that. You see that orange object? Multiple contrails. Look at that. Look how many contrails there are. That looks like over a dozen missiles, guys. This is a serious attack, and we're not being told the full extent of it, okay? Absolutely insane. We are living in historic times, guys, and we're only 15 days into 2024, and look at all the chaos unfolding around the world, okay? We could have a war between NATO and Russia this year, potentially a nuclear war any day, a war with Iran. This is just absolutely insane, and I don't know how we let this happen, guys. It's because we were showing weakness around the world. As soon as Russia invaded Ukraine, it basically opened the gates of hell, okay? Because all these evil leaders around the world, they saw that Russia could literally invade another country, take 30% of its land, bomb their cities, do all kinds of bad stuff to the civilian population and get away with it with nothing but sanctions, okay? China's watching, Iran is watching, North Korea's watching, and they see that America is scared, okay? And that is why this is happening, okay? Because America is no longer the world's policeman. I know a lot of you guys don't like that, okay? But this is what happens when there's no police, okay? It's just like a city, okay? Imagine New York City or LA or Chicago without any police. You know what would happen? It would be absolute insanity. Okay, imagine if all 30,000 New York City police officers just resigned. Okay, there's already crime now. Imagine what it would be like. This is what happens when America takes a back seat. Okay, all these evil leaders, the enemies of freedom, are now getting stronger, guys. Okay, here we have some footage coming from the U.S. Consulate earlier, right before the missiles landed, and you can hear the air raid siren going off. It's kind of quiet, so you may have to turn up your volume for this one. I hope the person filming this got out in time. And if that's not bad enough, there was another attack in the Red Sea area today, actually in the Gulf of Aden on the southern coast of Yemen, on a ship. This was a U.S. ship that was hit by a missile. Okay, this was earlier today in the afternoon. Here's the original warning that was put out by the British Maritime Organization, and it says here, the UK MTO has received a report of an incident 95 nautical miles southeast of Aden, Yemen. Master reports port side of vessel hit from above by a missile. Vessel and crew are safe. Vessel proceeding to next port of call. Okay, so they hit an American ship with a missile, guys. Okay, I don't know if it was a oil tanker or what, but they hit one of our ships. Okay, it was owned by a company in Connecticut. All right, and want to just show you guys the official statement from U.S. Central Command on January 15th at approximately 4 p.m. Yemen time. Iranian-backed Houthi militants fired an anti-ship ballistic missile from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen and struck the merchant vessel Gibraltar Eagle, a U.S. owned and operated container ship. So it was a container ship, okay? A U.S. owned and operated container ship was hit by a missile launched by the Houthis, okay? Earlier in the day at approximately 2 p.m. Yemen time, U.S. forces detected an anti-ship ballistic missile fired towards the southern Red Sea commercial shipping lanes. The missile failed in flight and impacted on land in Yemen. There were no injuries or damage reported. So they fired two missiles. One failed and crashed somewhere in Yemen, and the other one hit the U.S. container ship. And just last night, there was another cruise missile, another missile that was fired by Houthi rebels. This one was fired at one of our warships, the USS Laboon. It was an anti-ship cruise missile, and it had to be shot down by U.S. fighter jets. Okay, they had to deploy U.S. fighter jets to shoot this thing down, and apparently this was the first time that U.S. fighter jets had to actually be deployed to intercept a missile fired by the Houthis. Okay, and this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, they have brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnYPrepper.com. The link is in the description below this video. But this 3-month emergency food supply is freeze-dried, so it has a 25-year shelf life. And it's all contained within 6 rugged, water-resistant buckets. And free shipping is included. So again, use the link preparewithnYPrepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. It's really a no-brainer. 25-year shelf life. You don't have to worry about your food preps going bad. You don't have to worry about rotating anything. And it's all contained within 6 buckets. So you can find the space to store 6 buckets, guys. And they also have a general store. If you click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnYPrepper.com, you can access their general store, and they have all kinds of prepping and survival items for sale. They have MREs, they have survival seeds, they have potassium iodide. They have survival bars. So check it out. Prepare with NYPrepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. And the link is in the description below this video. And the spokesman for the Yemen military confirmed that a U.S. commercial ship was hit by a precision strike today as retaliation for the Allied airstrikes last week. The Yemen Armed Forces naval units carried out a military operation targeting an American ship in the Gulf of Aden using a number of appropriate naval missiles, leading to a precise and direct strike. Okay, so they claimed responsibility for it today. And he also said, we consider all American and British vessels and warships participating in aggression against our country as hostile targets. And he said that the Houthis are now going to focus on U.S. and British ships. They're not just going to target any ship going through the Red Sea anymore. They're going to specifically target U.S. and U.K. ships. And now the U.S. government has asked all American cargo ships and oil tankers not to approach the Red Sea until further notice. And the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said earlier this afternoon, we are ready for more military operations against the Houthis in Yemen. And we have this article coming from Semaphore claiming that Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps is deployed in Yemen and they're actively helping the Houthis launch attacks on U.S. and international ships going through the Red Sea. They say here commanders and advisors from Iran's elite Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps are on the ground in Yemen and playing a direct role in Houthi rebel attacks on commercial traffic in the Red Sea. The IRGC has stationed missile and drone trainers and operators in Yemen, as well as personnel providing tactical intelligence support to the Houthis, U.S. and Middle East officials told Semaphore. Okay, so U.S. and Middle East officials are confirming that Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps are on the ground in Yemen helping the Houthis launch these attacks. Okay, like I said, all roads lead to Iran. Okay, this is the end game. Okay, the U.S. and Israel are going to launch a massive operation against Iran. They're going to try to take out all their nuclear facilities, all their bunkers, all their drone factories, all their missiles, all their bases, all their airports. It's going to be something we have not seen in our lifetime, guys. If you think shock and awe was hardcore, this is going to make shock and awe look like a firecracker, like nothing, okay, like a little sparkler, okay, on 4th of July, okay, like one of those little tiny firecrackers you get at the store compared to like a major fireworks show, professional fireworks show. That's going to be the difference. It's going to be like a 22 versus an elephant gun, okay? That's going to be the difference in the amount of firepower that we're going to have to bring to bear to take out all of Iran's nuclear facilities, their missile sites, their drone sites, their bases, their bunkers, everything, their Navy. We're going to go after their Navy as well, guys, okay, because their Navy has been heavily involved in these attacks, okay? Their Navy is giving the Houthis the locations of these ships, okay? The Iranian Navy has sophisticated radars and different types of sensors that can tell the Houthis where these ships are, give them coordinates and everything. Not only that, but Iran can threaten the world's oil supply in Saudi Arabia. Okay, they're holding the world's oil supply hostage. Okay, so it's coming, guys. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be this week or next month. I have no idea, but the U.S. and Israel will launch a full-scale attack on Iran to denuclearize them and demilitarize all branches of their military, from their Navy all the way down to their Air Force and their infantry. Everything is going to be destroyed, okay? It's going to be something that the world has not seen in a very long time, and it's going to send a message to China and Russia, okay, and anybody that thinks that, you know, we're some kind of wet noodle, all right? And apparently, Qatar has stopped natural gas shipments in the Red Sea due to Yemeni Houthi attacks. Europe, especially Germany, is dependent on gas supplies from Qatar due to the termination of cooperation with Russia's Nord Stream pipeline. And prices for heat and water in Europe are now going to skyrocket. Okay, so Qatar is stopping natural gas shipments through the Red Sea. Europe is heavily dependent on them. And Russia is preparing a massive offensive in February once the ground freezes solid, according to the Institute for the Study of War. And isn't it funny how NATO is conducting this epic training exercise in the Baltics and Poland starting February at the same time that Russia's going to launch their massive offensive on Ukraine? Okay, very interesting timing, and the Institute for the Study of War is usually very accurate and very conservative in their predictions. So if the ISW is saying this, it means it's most likely going to happen. And apparently they're also going to use paratroopers to land behind the Ukrainian lines. They're going to try to do something similar to what they did in Hostomel Airport, where they did those airborne landings right outside of Kyiv to try to surround Kyiv. The Institute for the Study of War is saying that they're going to try to do that. So we have so many things going on, guys. We also have another U.S. aircraft carrier going to the Western Pacific. It was supposed to stay at port in California for a few more months, the USS Teddy Roosevelt. Okay, it was supposed to stay in port for a few more months, and now it's going to the Western Pacific along with the Carl Vinson. So that's going to be 4 aircraft carrier strike groups in the Western Pacific near Japan and the Korean Peninsula, guys. 4. Are they expecting China to attack Taiwan? Are they expecting North Korea to attack South Korea? Because you don't move 2 extra aircraft carrier strike groups to an area in addition to the 2 they already have for no reason, guys. Okay, that's over 1/3 of all of our aircraft carriers. Okay. And apparently Russia has been producing approximately 115 to 130 Kinzhal hypersonic missiles per month and 100 to 115 Kh-59 missiles per month, representatives of the Ukrainian intelligence said. And the Islamic resistance in Iraq carried out a missile strike on a U.S. military base today at the Conoco oil field in the eastern Deir ez-Zor region of Syria. Secretary of State Lloyd Austin was released from the hospital today following a stay for treatment of an infection after earlier prostate cancer surgery. And the Kremlin says it aims to develop ties with North Korea in all areas. A meeting between Vladimir Putin and North Korea's foreign minister cannot be ruled out, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said. Russia intends to further develop partnerships with North Korea in all areas. The dialogue will continue at all levels, Peskov stated. He added that Moscow hopes that Putin's visit to North Korea will take place in the foreseeable future. The dates will be agreed upon through diplomatic channels. So how do you guys think North Korea suddenly has these advanced missiles, okay, solid fueled missiles? How do you think they got that? Obviously, Russian scientists were helping them, okay? Because for the longest time, North Korea has only had liquid-fueled ICBMs. And the problem with liquid-fueled ICBMs is it takes a while to fuel them up, which means that you're vulnerable to a counterattack, okay? And you're also vulnerable to a first strike. Because if, let's say, your enemy launches missiles to try to destroy your missiles, it's going to take 2 to 3 hours to fuel up that missile to get it in the air before it gets hit. Okay, so now suddenly North Korea has solid fueled missiles, which makes it a lot more difficult to take out their missile sites, because as soon as their radars detect our missiles going to hit their missiles, they can immediately launch within seconds, okay, at pre-planned targets, a retaliation attack. Okay, but with the liquid fueled missiles, they couldn't do that because it takes 2 hours to fuel up. They would be destroyed by the time they launch, okay? So guys, there's escalation going on all over the world. And earlier today, we had more NATO reconnaissance in Eastern Europe, in Poland and the Baltic countries. We had an RC-135 rivet joint fly around Kaliningrad and into eastern Poland and the Baltic countries. We had an AWACS plane flying near the border of Ukraine. So that's the latest information that I have. I will be back probably later on tonight with updated information on the situation in Iraq. Okay, on that U.S. consulate, I will have some updated information for you, but just make sure you guys get prepared. And until next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. And before I go, I just want to shout out my friend Duramax News. He's doing 24/7 live coverage of all breaking news around the world, including the situation in Iraq. He's live right now. He's almost at 10,000 subscribers. He only needs a few hundred more to reach 10,000. So go over there, check him out. Check out his live streams. They're really good. And he does 24/7 flight tracking and emergency action messages. And it's a cool place to just hang out and chat with other people throughout the day. So check him out, Duramax News. I'll leave a link to his channel in the comments section.